welcome back to my channel. On this channel, we talk about all things lifestyle, health, and wellness. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button, like this video, and comment below. Also, I need y'all to follow me on Instagram. For some reason, I just cannot get past like 1,400 followers. And that's not even a lot of followers. I don't know if the metaverse taking over or the bots are taking over. I'll get followers, follow them back, and then I get on there and I done lost like 2 or 3 followers. So it's just like literally for at least 2 years I've been at the same number of followers. And I'm like, huh. So anyway, follow me on IG too, so I can get my follow game up. So anyway, today we gonna talk about mental health. I mean, I know this is like a taboo topic and can also be a heavy topic, but I feel like it's something that needs to be discussed. So you know what? Let's just jump right on in. So like I said before, I feel like talking about mental health is a taboo topic. People don't really like to talk about the state of their mental health because it forces you to be vulnerable. And to be honest, when I was thinking about even doing this episode and talking about this myself, I didn't want to talk about this because I myself don't want to go to a vulnerable part of myself and really evaluate like some of the struggles that I've had, mentally, just really within the past year. But just looking at the world around us and, just some things I've experienced in my own life, I feel like this is something that we need to talk about because it's not something wrong with you if you have struggled with mental health. And what I mean by that is depression, anxiety, dark thoughts, and anything of the like. It doesn't mean that you're weird or you're an anomaly or girl, what, you ain't living your best life. Like, I mean, some days you just ain't all that happy, and that's just the truth of the matter. But I think that there's been a stigma created around mental health, like, oh girl, you crazy, oh girl, you talking to a therapist, oh, and it's like, baby, everybody struggles, so let's talk about it. And it's, the truth of the matter is it's okay to not be okay, but I think it's important to know what resources are out there. So in preparation for this, I was just kind of doing some research and I found this study from 2021 that showed that the country is literally facing a mental health crisis. There are increased rates of anxiety, depression, drug overdoses, alcoholism, and suicide since the pandemic. And let me just mention that, if you are somebody who has struggled with your mental health just since the pandemic, you might be one of the people that's like, I'm genuinely happy or generally happy and upbeat. I can always see the positive in things, but since 2020, it's just been something different. I would encourage you to give yourself grace because the pandemic is one of those things that every single person on this entire planet experienced simultaneously with no regard towards whether you're rich, poor, black, white, Christian, non, in the president or not. It doesn't matter. Like, it affected every single person on this entire planet. It's not like it just affected America or whatever. It affected every single person on this entire planet, and it changed the way that we do life. And so I think that what's crazy about the pandemic is, yeah, that happened in 2020 and it lasted, and honestly COVID's still going around. But when the world opened back up in 2021, 2022, we kind of just picked up and was like, we back outside. And it's like, I don't know if we ever really sat and dealt with the fact that we were in isolation for months and that everything became virtual around that time, and kids had to go to school from home, and parents became teachers, and people lost their jobs, and even more, people lost their lives. And so I don't know that we ever just really said and said, wait, what are the mental implications of the pandemic? I don't know. I feel like the government probably should have gave everybody 2 or 3 free therapy sessions after dealing with that, to be honest, because I feel like we just kind of picked up and was like, we back outside. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that because I know, like I said, with that mental health study that I looked at and just, in general, since the pandemic, I know mental health has kind of just steadily been something that's been on the rise and something that people are talking about more. And the good thing is I see people getting help, but then there are some who don't get help and don't know what resources are available. So again, if the pandemic impacted your mental health, give yourself grace, because that was something that changed the course of everybody's lives. Now, me personally, I don't really feel like the pandemic was the thing that made me struggle mentally. I'm a nurse, so I don't know. The pandemic, yeah, it was crazy. That was also my first year as a nurse ever, and it was a crazy time. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I wasn't impacted, but it didn't really make me like depressed or anxious, because I don't really feel like I felt the implications of the isolation and I have kids. I don't have kids, that type of thing. And I was going to work every day, so I was still getting out the house, being around people, because I had to go to work as a nurse. I think where my struggles came in was when I got diagnosed with dermatomyositis last year. That's when I started to struggle with mental health things. So if you follow my channel, you may know I got diagnosed with a rare autoimmune disorder last year in 2022, and that for me was what was life altering. Just a quick thing about dermatomyositis: it is an autoimmune disorder. It is a musculoskeletal disease, but it's also a skin disease. So you end up with like diffuse rashes, muscle weakness. I lost all of my hair. I couldn't walk. At one point, I couldn't talk. I used to sing at church. I couldn't sing anymore. I'm trying to think of it. Was so many symptoms. I'm just trying to think on the top of my head everything. But basically, the main thing is like severe muscle weakness, joint pain. Pain is a big part of it. Joint pain and swelling, like just every single day in pain. And this came out of nowhere. Like, I was just living my best life, and then I literally woke up one day sick. And so that is where my struggles with mental health came into play. Like, being an otherwise healthy young woman, and then just waking up and now I can't walk, now I can't talk. Oh my God, I got all these rashes. Oh my God, I'm losing clumps of hair. Like, that really, it was just too much. So I want to talk about my struggles with it, just to let everybody know everybody struggles, but also, just to kind of talk a little bit about like what I feel like I was experiencing, because I think depression, anxiety, whatever your struggle may be, definitely looks different for each individual person. So for me, like I said, I started to see symptoms of the disease in August. I didn't know what it was. I thought I had lupus. I didn't get actually diagnosed until like mid-September, and it's rapidly progressing. So as you know, from the first symptom to September, like within 4 weeks, I was like barely moving. It was like, oh, I got a little rash. And then before I knew it, I couldn't stand up. I couldn't walk. I didn't have no strength, and all these things. So as I continue to learn about the disease, go to the doctor, get blood work, get told, you need to be on all these medicines. We need to do all this aggressive therapy. It just started to be a little bit too much for me. And I definitely think, I know for sure that I struggled with some depression. So what those signs and symptoms look like for me, were I didn't want to get out of the house. Like, I was sleeping a lot. I like to sleep. Don't get me wrong. I definitely like to sleep. But I was just sleeping 12, 14, probably 16 hours out of the day. And then when I would wake up, I would just stare into space. Like, I would get up, wake up, be in the bed, and then just stare off. And then when I would muster up the energy to walk in here in the living room, I would just sit on the couch and just stare off. Like, I wouldn't have no TV playing or nothing. I would just be staring off, just thinking like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm sick. That's basically what I would do for hours. And that's not like me, But physically, I couldn't just be all out the house and stuff. I could barely walk. But I definitely noticed like the increase in sleep, just staring off, not watching TV, so really no stimulation. And then I also just was kind of like looking a mess. I definitely was not looking like this. I wasn't, again, I was losing my hair. I had rashes. So I had rashes on my hands and on my face. I had like a butterfly rash on my face, on my forehead, and it was dark. Like, you could tell. I remember one of my friends was like, do you got a bruise on your face? And I'm like, no, this is the disease. And so, and you don't know where it's gonna pop up, where the rash was gonna pop up. It could be on your hand. At one point, it was on my chest. Like, it was everywhere. So it just made me feel like I looked a mess, and I guess agreed with that, and I didn't even try to like get myself together. So I was just looking a mess. And if you know me, I like to look cute. I like to put that on. I like to do my hair. I like to wear my wigs. I like to do all that stuff, but I wasn't doing none of that stuff. I was just like, I don't care. I'm just getting up. I look a mess. I don't care. And so yeah, another big thing for me that I knew, like, okay, I might be struggling, is I am a neat freak. This is my apartment that I record in, and I don't know if you can tell, but my apartment is very neat all the time. I'm just very neat in general, but I started noticing like dishes piling up, laundry piling up. Again, some of it was physically, I couldn't really just be doing dishes and laundry because I didn't have the strength, or my hands were so swollen and painful. I couldn't do it. But still, I wasn't even trying. I was just like, oh well, dishes everywhere, clothes everywhere, like whatever, I don't care. So yeah, when I noticed that, and what's crazy about that is the fact that my apartment wasn't as neat and clean was making me feel more depressed, because I'm like, this house look a mess and there's nothing I could do about it. I was thinking negative all the time, and I was just like, I just couldn't see past my current circumstance. So whenever I would get up and stare off into space, all I could think is, oh my God. Because, you know, with dermatomyositis, it's progressive. You can die from it. They were saying I had interstitial lung disease, which is like a lung component where your lungs become so fibrotic that you can't like breathe anymore, and you end up on a ventilator. Most people are in wheelchairs. So, you know, I'm just thinking about, I'm finna be on a ventilator, I'm finna be in a wheelchair, you know, and so that's all I'm thinking is just negative. I don't know nothing about the disease. It's so rare, you know, like 1 in a million or 10,000 people, or it's like some crazy statistic they even get this. And then I'm like, I'm the one person that get this? Like, I just was thinking it's just so negative. And then the other thing, I was crying a lot. Like, I normally do not cry. I probably cried more in the last year, than I have in my entire life, including infancy. I'm just not like a big crier, but I was just always just crying, like just sad about what I was going through. And to be honest, crying ain't a bad thing. You need to let it out, but I was just like crying a lot. And just having that victim mentality, like, why I gotta be the one to go through this? Like, this is just simply not fair. Like, why is it me that's got this, and blah, blah. So anyway, those are my signs and symptoms. So if you can identify with any of those, or you thinking like, dang, I have been sleeping a lot, or I haven't been really cleaning up, or I haven't been doing my normal, you know, daily dealings, or getting myself together, or, you know, doing what I normally like to do, you may need to check in. You may need to talk to somebody, and that's okay. I think the turning point for me to actually get some help. Oh, and another thing I was gonna mention is, outside of me being sick, it was just like other stuff going on. You know, I think when we going through dark times or storms and, you know, just hard times, of course the enemy gonna creep in and try to make it worse, make you feel like it ain't no hope. But what's crazy is the enemy can't do too much directly to us, but he definitely can cause chaos around us. And I feel like that was what was happening to me. It was just like other stupid things were just happening. People I thought would be there for me weren't. It was just like a lot of just on top of me physically being sick. It was just I just felt like one thing after the next, after the next, after this. I'm like, now this and this and this. And that's how the enemy works. He doesn't care. He'll use anybody. You know, he'll use any circumstance to make you feel like your storm is insurmountable. And that's what was happening. On top of me feeling depressed, physically going through all this stuff, plus having chaos around me, I just felt like it was too much. So the turning point for me is, I remember one day I was just in the kitchen and I was just in so much pain. My hands was just swole shut. I could stand at that point, but I just was in pain. And again, the biggest thing was the pain, like just pain every day. Pain in my knees, pain in my hands, pain in my neck. It didn't matter. Wherever there was a muscle, or a joint, it was gonna be pain, because it's an inflammatory disease. So I just remember just standing there and thinking, Lord, and I said this out of my mouth loud. I said, Lord, I'd rather be dead than deal with this. And when I said that, it was like the Holy Spirit was like, hold up, baby, what? You rather be what? And it's not like I want to hurt myself. I didn't want to hurt myself, but I just felt like it was too much. And so I was like, if I just die in my sleep, it's fine. That's how I felt. And it was like immediately the Holy Spirit was like, reminded me that there was purpose in the pain, and that, yeah, this sucks, but you got to push through this. So that was a turning point for me. I'm like, wait, I'm saying death? Like, okay. It almost kind of scared me. Like, I ain't never really had thoughts that dark that I want to die. So it was at that point I just was like, okay, I'm just gonna have to pray myself through this. I'm gonna have to push through this some type of way. I don't know how I'm gonna get through this, but I'm going to have to get through this. And so that was the turning point for me, is just knowing that, okay, these thoughts are not my own. Like, clearly I still have a will to live. Yeah, this sucks. This sucks. I'm not trying to downplay that this sucks. But at the end of the day, like, my life is still worth living. And clearly, if I'm still waking up every morning, then it's gonna have to get better at some point. And that's just what I had to remind myself of. That's what I had to believe, and that's what I had to push through to keep going. So I say all that to say, check on your strong friends or family members or people that's always happy, because in general, before I got sick, I just never really struggled with feeling down or anxious or depressed or sad. I'm always the one that's like upbeat and laughing and playing and making people laugh and blah, blah, blah. And this was the one time where I was just like, I can't give none of that. I am just not happy. Like, this is too much. And so I say all that to say, like, check on your strong, happy friends, because sometimes we are the people that's like, you know, I can push through this. I just got to put on a strong face until we can't no more. And so you want to just, and a lot of times, and I'm this way too, we'll be going through these silent struggles and won't tell nobody. We won't tell nobody, girl, I've been feeling depressed, girl, I've been feeling like I just want to give up. We ain't going to tell nobody that, because we don't want to burden nobody with that. But at the end of the day, you know, everybody, it don't matter how gleeful and happy and jovial they may seem, everybody have their struggles. So I say all that to say that's what my struggle looked like, until Jesus turned it around for me. And so how did I get through it? Number one, therapy. I'm not gonna lie, this was so life altering. It was like, when I had that thought, like, I'd rather be dead than deal with this, I said, oh, I need to talk to somebody. Because prior to this, I hadn't been really talking to nobody. Like, for a long time, nobody even knew I was dealing with this. I didn't even really tell nobody. Because I didn't know what it was at first until I got a diagnosis. Then, of course, like, I told my mama, then I told my sister. But I wasn't just making it like public knowledge that I was even dealing with this. And so what I say all that to say, I was holding all that in. And so you need to talk to somebody. If you're dealing with something life altering, and mine was a sickness, some people might be dealing with grief or loss or whatever. You need to let that out, you know. And so thank God at my job, we have the employee assistance program. A lot of jobs do have that. Look into what your job offers. If they don't, the good thing is they, you know, come out with a lot of web-based therapists, things like Talkspace. You just need to talk to a non-biased party is what I think. You know, for me, I didn't really want to tell people what I was dealing with, because I didn't want my mama and daddy them worry, you know, my sisters and friends worry, you know, and all that type of thing. So I'm like, I'll just deal with it on my own. But it's like, this is too much to be dealing with. But a therapist don't know me, so I literally can dump it all on him or her and get it out of my body, because it was causing me stress to keep all this in. Like, I don't know why there's chaos around me. I don't know what the end will be with this disease. I don't know, you know, like, I need to dump that on somebody who's going to be able to listen to me, give me a little bit of advice, but it's not going to impact their daily walk. And so I employ everybody to go to therapy. I know there used to be a stigma around therapy. Like, are you crazy if you got to talk to somebody? Baby, you need to talk to somebody. Like, let it out and, you know, dump on somebody. And I say a therapist, you know, but if you not into that, or you don't want to talk to somebody you don't know, a close confidant, a spiritual counselor, somebody, you don't need to keep that in, because when you harbor it in, it literally is like stressing your body. And that's how we get chronic illnesses and disease and things like that. So, and also throughout my experience with therapy, what I realized is we go through storm after storm after storm, and I don't know if we fully feel it or heal from each one. It's always something going on. You know, when I was my first therapy session with the lady, you know, we got to talking about, I came to talk to her about the illness, but somehow we started talking about me getting divorced and me and all this other stuff. So I realized, like, dang, I've been going through stuff since 2019. Like, I went through a divorce in the middle of nursing school, graduated nursing school, started my dream job as a nurse. 1 month after was the pandemic, And then, you know, going through that for 2 straight years consecutive, and then finally being like, woo, we back outside just to get diagnosed with something like this. It's like, dang, when did I have time to just deal with all this? And this is all consecutive since 2019. So you know, that's another good thing about therapy is you realize, like, I've been through a lot. And did I really take the time to really just deal with it, you know, type of thing. And so, I don't know, I encourage everybody, I'm not saying you gotta do a million sessions. I think I only went to my therapist maybe twice. I just needed to just let it out. Like I said, once I got in a better mind space, I really was fine, but I just needed to talk to somebody, and I do feel like therapy helped me. But if you're a member of a church, see what kind of counseling, you know, sessions they provide. Just my point is, tell somebody. If you really are struggling with dark thoughts, especially if you're thinking of self-harm, you need to talk to somebody. There are people that care about you, and there are resources available. Another thing I had to do was detach from social media. It was just too much when I was sick, you know, to be seeing everybody living their best life, and I'm over here barely able to walk. It was just too much. And that's what I like to do. I'm a social person. I like going and being outside and I couldn't do none of that. And so I knew what was going to trigger me to feel more sad. So I had to detach from that. You know, I believe social media is a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing in the sense that it keeps us connected. We can make money off social media. We can get our information now. It makes us laugh. We can look cute. We can post, that type of thing. But it's a curse in the sense that it's just stimulation and it's information overload. Sometimes it's too much. I don't believe our brains are wired to receive this much stimulation all the time from our phones and social media. And then, of course, don't even get me started on like the subconscious comparison. So you thinking, it's a mess, I can't walk, and they outside doing the cuff it challenge, I can't do that, you know, you type of thing. And then you just, it can be triggering. So for me, I knew I needed to just detach from it and just kind of focus on my healing. Like, what am I going to do to get myself better? Because this disease is not going to take me over. I don't care what the doctors say. And that was just a part of it, me having to detach. And like I said, I saw a study that was saying that like high school students aren't enjoying life as much because of social media. I don't remember what the headline was, but something like that. Because they're growing up in a social media era, and how, you know, that generation or that age group is more depressed because they spend so much time like just on their phones and posting and TikToking and this and that. And so I really just, even if you're not struggling, just take a day or two off of social media. I do that to this day. I'm doing a lot better now with my health, but I still do that just for mental clarity. Like, sometimes I'm just like, I ain't gonna get on no type of social media today, 24 hours. And then sometimes I do it for a week. And those be some of the most refreshing days, because I don't gotta worry about nothing. You know, it's just like, I don't know what I don't know. I don't know no bad news. I don't know no good news. I'm just living. And so I employ everybody, or encourage everybody, if nothing else, take little breaks from social media. You don't have to be on there every minute. You can miss a TikTok. You can miss a reel. You don't have to post today. So even me being somebody who got like a YouTube, and I like to post this and that, you know, I take my breaks. I really do, because it ain't even about being sick. It's just about mental, you know, just mentally, I just need a break. I don't want to be on here all the time. So anyway, that helped me. But the biggest thing that helped me was changing my diet. That's how I healed myself. You know, the doctors were saying, you need to be on all these immunosuppressants and all this type of medicine. That's all they gonna say is medicine, medicine, medicine. And what's crazy is I think I suffered more, you know, when I really was sick, because I refused to take any of the medicine. I didn't even take pain medicine. When I was in so much pain, I didn't even take pain medicine, because I was like, I'm not gonna be just taking pain medicine. Now I gotta worry about my livers. I got my liver, my kidneys from all this pain medicine. I'm not doing it. I would just do like warm soaks and just basically anything other than pain medicine. That's probably why I was in so much pain. But, you know, the doctor's like, you need to be on this med, you need to be on that med. I'm like, no. So anyway, I changed my diet. I did a full elimination diet. I'm gonna do a health update video next month, because it'll have been a year since I was diagnosed with dermatomyositis in August of next month. of this year. So I'll do like a more in-depth video about like how I changed my diet, what I eliminated, what herbs I used and all that. But that's literally how I heal myself, is dietary changes. I just want to mention that here because mental clarity is a brain thing. So our brain is the core of our entire body, right? We're only as good as our brain. Our brain, controls everything. And so when people are going through dark times, a lot of times they run to vices like drinking, smoking weed, vaping, or worse. And what you don't realize about that stuff is while you think in the moment, while you drunk or high, okay, I ain't thinking about what I'm going through, you really are putting a toxin in your body, and that's furthering the upset of your brain function. Like when I finally eliminated so much stuff from my diet, I just felt like my mental clarity was I was more sharp. And it was so sharp that I was motivated to learn more about the disease, to the point where I normally have a pretty short attention span. And I think that have to do with social media and this and that, our attention spans have gotten a lot shorter. But when I eliminated all this stuff from my diet, suddenly I'm like, I can watch an 1.5-hour video about dermatomyositis, the drugs associated with it, the side effects, this and that, because I wanted to go into my doctor's appointments knowledgeable. But I feel like if I would have been running to vices, let me just smoke, let me just drink, I don't know. I felt more mentally clear and sharp because I was putting the right things in my body so my brain could function at maximum capacity. And so, culture makes us think that drinking, smoking, all that's the way to escape. That's the way to relax. But honestly, all of those are toxins, whether you want to believe it or not. And trust me, I used to indulge in it all, so I'm not in it all. But, I have done all that, so I am speaking from experience. It doesn't make you more clear. It doesn't. If you really want to, put an end to dark thoughts and depression and being anxious and all that, stop smoking, stop drinking. I'm telling you, when your body is able to detox, those are just straight up toxins. When your body is able to detox all of that, the amount of mental clarity you'll get just from doing that alone, then you add on, I ain't eating processed sugars, I'm not eating processed food, I only eat meat 2-3 times a week, that type of thing. Your mental will just naturally clear up because you're giving your body what it needs to operate like a machine. And so anyway, I just want to remind everybody, the brain is our control panel. We have to, we don't think about it like that when we think about mental health. We just think, mental health, but it's a brain thing. If we have to feed our body brain food. We want our brain to function at maximum capacity and sharpness and clarity, and we want to be able to think straight. What are we putting into our body so that our brains can do that? If we putting toxins in, every time we turn around, we're taking a shot, we're having a drink, and no judgment, I know that just is kind of what culture is pushing. But if you really want some mental clarity, cut all that out and see how sharp your mind is. Because like I said, once I started eliminating all that, not only did it heal my body to where I was able to walk again, talk again, hair started growing back, rashes started disappearing, and of course that made me feel better. Okay, I'm getting better. And I'm not doing what the doctors say, type of thing. But, it's just the mental clarity. I'm now I want to learn more. Now, what is the purpose behind this pain? Okay, how can I capitalize off of this storm that I'm going through? And, if nothing else, if you look, I can't cut out meat. I can't cut out sugar. I can't, just fast for a day. Try intermittent fasting. Go 16 hours without eating. Even that will give you some mental clarity. Not even just mentally, but spiritually. I mean, it's so many benefits to this. What we put in our body is what we get out of our body is a direct implication of what we put in it to begin with. So if we putting in toxins, guess what you're going to get out? Toxins. And that's going to look like negative thoughts, anxiety, fear, doubt, depression, all of that. So I'm just telling you from experience that, putting the right things in your body also helps your mental health. So be sober-minded. Community is probably the other thing that really helped me. Like I said, check on your strong friends and that type of thing. Won't always say what we going through or what we need, but community, you are not meant to do life alone. You might be, going through something and let me just isolate myself. People not gonna understand. I don't need people in my business knowing what I'm dealing with, blah, blah, blah. Like I said, I was like that. I'm like, I'm not gonna tell nobody that I can't walk. I'm not gonna tell nobody I can't talk. I'm not gonna tell, like, I finally told my mama, I'm like, I need to tell somebody in case I'm over here passed out, but for a long time, I just was like, I'm just gonna deal with this myself. I'm just gonna figure this out myself. But that's not what God intended. We are not designed to do life alone. We need people. We need people. So allow your friends and family to show up for you when you're going through stuff. That's okay. Like when, sometimes you don't know what you need when you're in the middle of a storm. You don't. Like sometimes you don't know, I need a hug, I need to cry. Like sometimes you don't know that, but just say, girl, I don't know what I need. Just whatever you think I might need, you know me, type of thing. But at least allow your friends and family to show up for you, because that's important. I remember one time, like I said, I wasn't able to fold clothes or whatever, and my little sister called and was like, girl, do you need anything? And I was like, yeah, can you come fold my clothes? She came over here, she folded my clothes. And that really, I just felt when she folded my clothes, like my house was a little cleaner. So I was like, yes, she probably, to her, she was like, girl, I just folded your clothes. That wasn't nothing. But for me, I was like, my clothes are folded, because my hands were so swollen, I really couldn't do it. And so, having my clothes be folded, and then, I was able to put them away, I was like, the house is a little cleaner. Now maybe I can load the dishwasher. And, it just gave me motivation to do a little bit more and do a little bit more. And, like I said, it's a small thing for her to come fold my clothes, So that's why I say just let your friends and family show up for you when you're going through things. Talk to them, if you feel comfortable. Isolation is not the answer, is basically what I'm saying. We need people. And so getting a community-based church, you don't need a lot of people. I'm not saying you need 30, 40, 50 people, but you need one or two. That you can lean on when you're going through, because we are not meant to do life alone, and that's the enemy's biggest plot and ploy, to make you think, let me get in isolation, it's just me and my thoughts. No, that could be dangerous. But you need the right community. And so anyway, I just say all that to say self-care is a priority. I had to get back to me. Once I was in a better space mentally and, physically, I was able to slowly get back to me. So just get myself together. It got to the point where I might not even be going nowhere, but I'm gonna put on my lashes and a little wig and let me post, because that's gonna make me feel better. Getting out the house, cleaning up, just getting back to myself, traveling and all of that, I just had to slowly get back to me. But self-care is a priority always. It always has been, even before I got sick, but definitely now. And self-care don't have to be spending a lot of money. You soak in the tub, do a nice bubble bath, read a book, get off social media, put your phone on do not disturb. All of that is self-care stuff. But make you a priority is my point. When you're going through, depression or anxiety or anything mental health, like prioritize, what is it that I need? Only you really know that. And so make you a priority. And then of course, Jesus got us. At the end of the day, I have a firm foundation in faith, but sometimes when you're going through, just having somebody say, girl, pray about it, that ain't enough sometimes. And so you kind of need all these things that I talked about, talking to somebody, having community, doing self-care, praying, detaching from social media, cleaning up your diet. Like you kind of need to do all that to get back to the core of who you are. So anyway, I didn't want to make this real long, but I just wanted to say, we all struggle. We all have struggled. And if you're one of the people that ain't never struggled, one day you probably will. But what you don't have to do is adopt it and own it. You don't have to say, I'm depressed. I am an anxious person. Like, we don't have to own that. This is just a moment in time. I might feel a little depressed today. I might feel a little anxious in this moment, but I'm not going to identify myself as a depressed person, as a anxious person. We got that bad too in society. Like, girl, I'm anxious. My anxiety. Like, why are you owning that? Like, no, you might be anxious in this moment. Let's get to the core of why you're anxious. Let's wrap that up. Let's deal with that, because once you own it, then that is who you are. Like I said, words have power. And so you don't have to own these things. When I was really going through, I let myself feel bad for myself for a day. Like, if I woke up and I had a bad day, I'll cry all day, feel bad, think negative. I ain't gonna lie, I would do that all day. But the next day, baby, get up, shuffle in this kitchen, load that dishwasher. I gave myself a day. Like if I got bad lab results, that would just upset me. I'm gonna be upset all day. I don't care. I got bad lab results. I'm upset. But tomorrow, okay, what we need to eliminate now to get these lab levels down or up or whatever it is. And so I only allow myself one day to pity myself. I think that's the problem too. Sometimes we get in a funk and then we just stay there for months and months and months. No, one day. Okay, it's okay to feel what you feel. I'm not saying suppress what you're feeling. Feel what you feel, but you got one day. And then tomorrow you need to get up and figure it out. I'm sorry, life keeps going and it's hard and it's annoying, but you can't sit in that because that's how you get in a funk. And so anyway, I just want to end it all by saying again, we all struggle. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you weird. It doesn't make you an anomaly. We all go through stuff. Life, just be lifing. I know everybody that heard people say that more, you know, as a little saying more recently, like, oh, life be lifing. But that is the truth. Like, life be lifing. It's a lot that we go through and we never know what we gonna go through and when. And so, you know, just know that you are in good company if you have struggled. But you need community to get you out of it. And I just encourage everybody to lead with kindness. Be kind to everybody that you meet because you don't know what silent battles people is dealing with. Like you just don't. The happiest people might be the most depressed and down or opposite. And you don't know if your one kind word is what's going to give somebody that strength to fight another day, or you being rude could be the one thing that sets somebody off. So if you don't get nothing else from this episode, just remember to be kind. Like, be kind because people need to see that there's still hope and light in this world and that there is, you know, there is breakthrough on the other side of storms. You know, I'm going through this still. You know, and it's not as bad as it was, but I'm still going through this. But at the end of the day, guess what? When this storm is over, it'll be another one. And so, you know, you just learn and you build endurance and you build character. That's just life. But I just say all that to say that just be kind, lead with kindness because you don't know what struggles people are going through. And it don't always look like what it seems. People may have looked at me and be like, girl, we did not know. And some people, even to this day, I'm like, yeah, I was dealing with this, couldn't walk, couldn't talk, blah, blah. And they're like, when? I'm like, 9 months ago. And they didn't know because it's one of those things where you don't just look sick. You know, a lot of people was like, I mean, I seen that you was losing weight. I couldn't help but lose weight because I was eliminating so much stuff from my diet. But they like, you didn't just look, you know. So I say all that to say you don't know what people are dealing with. So be kind to the man in the grocery store. When you're driving on the street, I know road rage, but be kind because people crazy. Be kind to just everybody. Just lead with kindness. I ain't saying let people walk all over you, but just lead with kindness because we need a little more of that in the world. But anyway, if you're struggling, just know your life is worth living. I love you. Your family loves you. Your friends love you. They need you. So keep pushing, keep fighting. I know it's hard. You know, mental stuff is just hard because the enemy just feeds us so many lies and makes us just think it ain't no hope, but that is just a lie. It just is. And if nothing else, I'm a living testimony of it, that you can get through it, but you gotta have the willpower to fight. So I know that we can do it. But anyway, if you have anything to add, be sure to put it in the comments below. Like, comment, subscribe. And until next time, lead with kindness.